Hey everyone, this is your favorite radio host, your only radio host, of course, and your favorite girl, Corinne Lafort, broadcasting to you from the lovely island in the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, on Between the Lines. And you know, I always start my show being thankful. I am so thankful to be here another day, new blessings, new mercies, just to be able to see, smell, feel, have my all my faculties intact, my senses are intact. I'm so grateful to be here. I have another day to do over. There are a lot of people who are not around at this moment and they don't have the chance to do over, or they may be laid up in bed or sick or wherever you are. You know, no matter what's going on with you, be thankful, accept and surrender. And I have with me Irene Weinberg, is it?
Weinberg.
Weinberg. So I have Irene Weinberg here with me, and she's so awesome. And we were actually having a lovely conversation prior to coming on to the show. And I'm not going to share with you what we talked about. That's girl talk. Okay. And we're talking today about the afterlife. So we're going to have a spirited conversation. Isn't that nice? I just played on the word spirit. Spirited conversation. And let me tell you a bit about Irene. Let me just grab her bio here. So Irene is the author of the 5-star reviewed book, They Serve Bagels in Heaven. Now, how in heaven's name does she know that? She went to heaven and come back? We'll find out. A compelling spiritual love story that begins with a profound spiritual awakening Irene experienced during a tragic car accident when her husband Saul died next to her. Oh my gosh. If you have ever wondered about the afterlife or have lost someone close to you, this memoir offers comfort, healing, and an insider's look into what goes beyond our lives on earth. And you know, that's the thing, we all want to know what happens next, what's happening in the afterlife. Irene is also creator and co-host of the widely popular podcast, Grief and Rebirth, Finding the Joy in Life. So we're going to hear a little bit about that later in the show so that you can take in her podcast. There, she and her co-host Stephanie Barnhart share powerful conversations with healers, grief and trauma specialists, mediums, celebrities. Of course, I'm a celebrity, so she needs to have me on a show. As a little plug there. And others who have inspiring healing stories to share with listeners. Irene is a highly sought-after public speaker whose spirited lectures have inspired and motivated audiences at conferences and spiritual get-togethers, as well as bookstores nationwide. Welcome, Irene, to Between the Lines.
Thank you, Corinne. And I would love to have you on our podcast. We'll have to have a conversation about that later.
Yeah, sure. Anytime. So Irene, let's go back to what started all of this. And I guess the trigger would have been that tragic car accident with your husband dying next to you. Now, I cannot imagine something like that happening to me. You know, some people will say, I could imagine. I cannot imagine. I am just thinking about it, and I could just feel the pain. I put myself in your situation and I can feel the pain and the intensity, but I really don't know what could have been going through your mind, your body. Did you feel anything, at that point? And what led you, what was that spiritual awakening that you had? And also, I mean, there's a lot of questions coming at you at once because my head goes in that direction. What can people learn in the sense of, you don't need to necessarily have to have a tragic car accident. Most people, something tragic has to happen for you to have that awakening. What I want is a person to have the awakening without something being tragic. In other words, willingly surrender, willingly give, accept, and realize that they can experience something greater than themselves. So start with where it all started, of course.
I'm going to start my story, Corinne, and I'm going to answer all your questions with my story. And then
very good.
And you can feel free to ask me any questions you have.
Sure.
I want to take all of our viewers, our listeners back. I was not a believer in the afterlife at all. I thought it was ridiculous. My husband's name was Saul, and he and I thought it was hooey. It was stupid. What do you mean people go on? This life is all that there is. We were married for about 17 years. And one day I was washing dishes at my kitchen sink, and he was watching a Jets game on TV. And I suddenly got a very strong thought in my mind, which was a message, but I didn't recognize it as such. And it said to me, Saul has to go. Many lessons will be learned from his death.
Wow.
And I'm standing in my kitchen washing these dishes, and I'm saying, oh my God, if Saul, he was a real estate developer, and I was like, if Saul died, so many people who hurt him in business and all. And then I stopped myself and I said, what are you thinking? This is stupid. And I filled a glass of water. I brought it over to him. I kissed the top of his head and put it completely out of my mind. 2 months later, we were on the New York State Thruway. We were skiers, and in New York, which people in Trinidad are not probably familiar with New York, but in New York we have some ski mountains, and we were skiers, and we had been skiing for the weekend, and we were coming home, and we were going about 72 miles an hour on the Thruway, and I felt the car go into a huge swerve, and I looked over, and my husband was sound asleep at the wheel. And I called out to him. I said, Saul. And as I did, he woke up and he went to pull the car out of the swerve. And as he did, we started to rise up into the air as if I was like in a gigantic roller coaster. And as we began to rise up in the air, I got a second strong message. And it said to me, he's not going to make it. You are. Now, who could even process this thought, because I'm flipping up in the air. We flipped up and over 4 different times, and we landed upside down in a ravine. Thank God we took no one else with us, but we held up traffic on that throughway for 2.5 hours. And I look over, I'm upside down, I'm in my seatbelt, and I had curled up into a little ball, and I didn't know at the time that I too was wounded, but I was conscious. And I looked over at my husband and I said, Saul, are you okay? And his entire personality had left his body. This beautiful, delightful, funny guy, he was completely gone. And I said to myself, oh my, I was looking at the shell of my husband. And I looked at him and I said, oh my God, I got a message that he wasn't going to make it. And this is true. Something's going on here. I just about had time to think about that when I felt the emergency people turning my car over, and I felt the strong hands of an EMT reach through the shattered window of my car, undo my seatbelt, begin to turn me around and pull me through my window. And as I was sliding through my window, an unemotional, authoritative male voice, and I want to tell women it was a female voice, but it was a male voice, boomed into my head and said to me, be loving and kind to everyone, as they laid me on the side of the road. So now you have to picture this. My husband is dead, and I know he's dead. They're tying a tourniquet on my leg because I'm bleeding to death from a torn artery in the bottom of my foot. I had an eye that had hemorrhaged. My collarbone was reversed inside my shoulder, and I'd lost a ligament from my knee, and a helicopter was waiting to take me to an emergency trauma center. And I've just been told to be loving and kind to everyone. And this changed my whole persona. I knew something was up in that moment. I knew in that moment that Saul was probably still with me. I knew in that moment that he was a soul. I knew in that moment that something profound was going on. And I started, instead of screaming for myself and getting into what normally people would do, because I just lost the love of my life, I started saying to the emergency crew people, what's your name? Thank you for coming out. It's the weekend before Christmas. You're so kind to help me. They take me to the hospital, and I validate everyone. Meanwhile, I'm bleeding to death, but I'm validating everyone who comes near me. There was a whole scene with my stepdaughter when she came and found out her father was gone. And the way I handled things was completely different than anyone would normally do. So much so that 3 months after the accident, the assistant to the surgeon, who basically saved my life, said, Irene, you changed lives in the emergency room that night because you were so different than anyone. We've seen horrible things happen on this throughway. No one's ever reacted with love and kindness to everyone who came near her the way you have, instead of screaming about herself. And I said to the woman, Trish, I had a spiritual awakening that changed my life.
Wow.
And she, well, you also changed lives in
Wow.
the emergency room. So now, okay, I get back from the hospital. I'm in the hospital for 3 days, and I come home to a mess. I have financial problems, family problems. We have to bury my husband, you name it, and I'm in a wheelchair. And everything is going on. But I know something is up. And about 6 weeks after the accident and all the things that I'm dealing with and all, I get a call. I'm very friendly. I guess you can tell that. And I get a call from my dry cleaner. And he says, Irene, I've never told anyone this story before, but I feel you're very open. And I want to tell you, I'm so sorry about your husband. And I want to tell you that my wife and I lost a son to a drug overdose, and no one could help us. We went to grief counselors and social workers and all kinds of people. And then someone told us that the soul goes on to the other side, that we do go on. And we've been to see these very famous people who are amazing. And one of them, who is going to be very famous one day, he's unbelievable. He said he's going to be doing what they call a gallery. A gallery is where a bunch of people get together in a room, and a medium, they call it, they translate. They get the vibration from the other side, and they translate that to give the messages, to give proof that the person has survived and they're still in your life. We just don't see them physically anymore. He said, we're going to be at this gallery in 2 weeks, and if you want, you can come with us. I had no idea what he was talking about, but I was just out of my wheelchair. And I'll tell you this for a reason. I took my husband's car because mine had been totaled in the accident. And I took the car and I went to this guy's house, left the car at his house, and got in his car. And we went like 4 or 5 towns away to where this gallery was. And this young man looked at me and he said, I don't even want to know your name. Go upstairs where everybody is. And I go up into this meeting room. And it was like my husband was waiting for me to see messages come through to other people in the room.
Wow.
I'm getting a message. Someone shot himself in the head with a pistol. Oh my God, that was my father. Someone said, I'm getting a message that somebody put 3 new paintings on their wall for Christmas. Oh my God, that's my mother. Anyway, so now he waits, and all of a sudden he says, I'm getting a message about Dr. Pepper. Does anyone have anything? And I elbow my dry cleaner and I go, oh my God, Joel, start writing. This was in the days before voice recorders, so you took notes. And 15 years before he met me, my husband's brother, who was a big advertising executive, put his name in an advertisement for Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper is coming Eastern California in boats and planes and trains. And let's talk to the man in the street, Saul Weinberg, about what and Saul used to laugh and laugh, not John Doe, Joe Smith. His brother put his name in the commercial. How would this medium in any way know that, let alone that this hadn't even happened when I knew Saul? It happened 15 years before I knew Saul. Now, for 35 minutes, my husband comes through he's telling me he died in a different state than where you live, that you're driving his car with Saul Z on the license plate. He sold condos to yuppies and they called him Uncle Saul Z. He has Saul Z on his license plate. He's telling me about a joke that only you and he shared, and why is he holding up a can of tomato juice? When my son was very little, he was so skinny that Saul used to like to joke that if you filled Matt with tomato juice, he'd look just like a thermometer. You want to tell me how this guy knows this? He's telling me you're wearing his skier charm under your blouse, on and on and on and on. So now I get this amazing message from Saul, and I'm all excited, and I know that he's gone on, but there's something more to this, and I don't know what it is. And I start going to other people who communicate. And by the way, this first medium who communicated with Saul was the very famous John Edward, who is renowned, but in those days he was just starting out. And now I start going to other mediums, and my husband is coming through. He describes his genitals through someone, his toes through someone, the outfit he wore the night he died, the first meal I ever made him, what our first kiss was like. I mean, there is no doubt that it's him. And then these people start telling me that I'm supposed to write a book. And Saul wants to help me, and it's going to help a lot of people. And I go, what book? I was a violinist. I was a buyer for Macy's. I had 2 children's stores. I helped him in his real estate business. I raised his 2 children and my son. What book? But it's him. And I start to ask people questions, and I'm starting to get answers. And I'm asking questions like, what do they do about evil over there? What's it like where you are? What was it like for you to cross over? Are we soulmates? Did we have past lives? And on and on. And he starts giving me answers. And I eventually got to somebody who would sit at a computer, Corinne, and it was like water. She'd ask him a question, and it would come right through, and she'd be typing it out on the computer. There was no way she could be this creative in that moment for all that going on. And the book starts to take shape. And to your question, do they serve bagels in heaven? I'm going to tell all your viewers, your listeners, yes, and it's on page 8. So yes, they serve bagels in heaven. It's an amazing scene, and it's true.
Yeah.
And Saul talked about his life review when he crossed over, what happened. I asked him all unbelievable questions about it, and I got these he talked about amazing past lives that we've had. And what we do is we come here, and in each lifetime, this is school, and that's home. And we come here to learn lessons in each lifetime, which really helps if you think about all the junk that you go through in a lifetime and all the pain and all. But if you can think about it as, all right, what lesson am I supposed to be learning from this?
I am going to stop you right there, Irene. And I'm stopping you not to stop the show, but I'm stopping you to say, I am so thankful for talking with you because, and I'm talking to you, and my spirit within me, I'm feeling it in my soul and in my body. That is exactly, my skin is tingling. That is exactly what I spent time talking to somebody about even yesterday. And I'm talking to my girlfriend, and I'm saying, what's the lesson? You know, I'm watching the things that's happening in my life, and I talk to her, and I'm like, we always need to seek the answer to that. Anytime you're going through something, ask the universe, ask your higher source. You know, it could be God, it could be whatever you want.
Whatever it is.
Ask. There is a reason. Don't get caught up in what is happening. Stand
don't
back.
Get caught up in the drama. Drama is all the fixing.
Right?
You're supposed to be, you set a lot of this stuff up before you came here.
Yeah, and you don't even know. Right? And you don't even know. And so be the observer. Take a step back. Slow your breath down. And just say calm. Bring a sense of calm to you, because you could control that. Become aware. And say, God, universe, source, whoever, what is the lesson that you want me to learn from this? What is the lesson? Because when you ask that, you have become a student. You are willing to learn. You are willing to hear. You are willing to become humble, be submissive, to surrender, because you realize you have no control over this. You have no control. You can't manipulate. You can't change. But you need to know what the lesson is, because you need to move on from this. You need
exactly. And if you don't know what the lesson is, Corinne, sorry to interrupt, but if you don't know what the lesson is, go and get healing, which is what my podcast is about, because we're introducing all kinds of people who can help people to release their drama and to get to the lessons that they need to learn. And if you can't figure it out yourself, sometimes you need someone from outside yourself to help you.
Exactly. And this is why I love doing my show, because you never knew what happened to me 2 days ago when I was out, like I was telling you prior to us recording. You never knew. And in talking to you, you realize, you know, you don't even know who the person was that I was talking about. And here it is in this show, we are talking about the lesson. And it's the same thing. I said to myself, you know, this is crazy. At first, I got caught up in the situation. And then after I took myself away from it and kind of observed and replayed it, I'm like, thank you, God, for revealing this person to me.
That's right.
Thank you for showing me who she is, who he is, so that I know the people in my life and I can eliminate, delete, stay away from. Thank you for revealing them, because I don't need the drama. I don't need the drama in my life. And like another girlfriend said to me, Corinne, we're in our 40s. We don't need this crap.
She's right. She's
We
right.
don't
You
need
do.
this. And she said, I'm telling you, you're my friend. I don't need a friend. I don't need a friend with drama. So
Nope.
don't call me about drama.
Nope.
And she said,
She's trying to pull you down. She's got issues, whoever she is. She has issues, and she's trying to pull you down into her swamp of unhappiness.
yes.
And I have found that because, of course, what happened to me, be loving and kind to everyone, also means be loving and kind to yourself.
Oh
and
my God.
I tell people all the time, when that voice boomed into my head, I realized that I'm part of everyone also. And it's changed the way I view life. I can be loving and understanding to people and kind, but if they are not, what they're doing or who they are is not kind to me, I call it, I detach with love. I know you have your path. Maybe you're learning your lessons. Maybe you're not. But that doesn't mean I give you permission to pull me down on my journey.
Exactly. And that's the key thing. Stop giving people permission. So I found myself initially in the initial interaction explaining away, trying to make her feel comfortable. And I'm like, when I look back, I'm like, Corinne, why are you doing that? You have nothing to explain. You have nothing to justify. Why are you trying to make her feel comfortable? And and this is happening to me later in the day, like when I came home and started to, and I'm like, what the hell were you doing, Corinne? What the hell were you doing? It is not happening again. I should have said, look, when she started, I should have just cut her off from the beginning when I saw where she was going. And I should have just cut her off and said, look, I'm an adult. You're an adult. And you see what you see. That's what you project. That's fine. I respect that. I'm not going down that road with you.
Right.
I'm not going down that road, and just put an end to it. Because it was ridiculous for the person to bring it up in the first place.
Right.
It was just ridiculous. And the determination that she has to spread the drama was even more ridiculous.
When people have a need to control other people, that's what they do. And there must be a lesson for you in this lifetime about standing up to people like that, or figuring out that how precious and important you are, and standing up for yourself. I'm still learning that lesson. I have had people foisting I call it, they throw up their stuff on me. I've had people foisting their stuff on me for so many years, and and the lesson keeps coming back in a new person. And I think it's heaven's way of saying, so did you get it yet? Are you going to handle it differently this time?
Yeah.
How are you going to do this?
Yeah, because it even reached a point when the person started to label me. She started to label me.
Oh my God, that's awful.
Yeah, she labeled me, I'm at this, I'm at that, I'm at that. And I'm like, whoa, I'm like.
And what made her the authority and the expert?
Exactly. Exactly.
And maybe she should be looking up to you, and instead of demanding that you look down to her.
Exactly. And it's like she clearly thinks that she's above everything else, and she determines this is what it is, and this is what she see it is. And I'm like, you know what? I can't change how you think. And she said, no. I said, sure, no, I'm not trying to convince you or talk you out of anything. I'm not, because I see you're quite determined.
Mm-hmm.
But I just left it. And I just, I went in the church. I was passing in my church, and I sat there, and I just said, my spirit was saying, calm down, think about this, don't act hasty, just relax and allow the spirit to move through you. And I sat there for a good while. I called up my girlfriend, and that's the one who said, we don't need a drama.
No,
we don't need a drama. And she reminded me, I have no reason to explain myself to anybody.
Absolutely not. Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
To anybody.
There are a lot of people like that. So that's my answer. I tell them to get on my podcast and find someone like that. I'd say, listen, maybe you can't do anything about her, but for people who have issues and they're open, I say, get on my podcast. We interview so many healers and mediums and people who have been through trauma and grief and have inspiring stories of moving through all different things that happen to them in their lives. Go listen to one of these people. You don't have to be stuck in your swamp.
Yeah.
One of these people could perhaps help you, or maybe even just listening to one of these interviews can help you.
But here's the thing, Irene, like I was saying earlier in the show, something tragic had to happen. I mean, you got a little premonition before to prepare you for it, but you discounted it. And there are some people, well, that's what we do. We may hear something and we don't act on it and we discount it because, of course, we don't want to accept that there is somebody higher and, than us.
Right.
And we actually heard something to prepare us. But you had a tragic situation that led to that spiritual awakening. I am saying, why do we have to wait for a tragic situation to occur? How can, after your experience, how can persons right now in the form that we're in this present life, this present moment that we exist in, on this earth, how can we achieve that sort of spiritual awakening, that enlightenment, without having to have a tragic experience?
I can tell you, because if someone like me has a tragic experience, so this is the reason I was told that I was supposed to write a book, so people can get my book and they can start to open up and to learn things without having the tragic experience on their own. They can decide to go to different groups that are spiritual. And if it doesn't work for them, where they don't like it, the door opens and the door opens and closes, goes the other way too. If it doesn't feel right to you, walk out. But start to seek, start to read, start to listen to my podcast, because you'll get so much wisdom from real people who are going through these things. Listen to Corinne. You're so very wise. And you can get wisdom from listening to you and your show. You don't have to have what happened to me. Yeah. But in a way, thankfully, I survived so that you can learn also about it.
There was a purpose. You had a purpose and you were told that you would have that purpose. Thank God for that. Irene, I want to showcase your website so that persons can get a copy of your book. So hold on one second. Let me just grab that. Let me grab that. Hold on 1 second.
They can also get it on Amazon and then get it through my website, Corinne.
Yeah. Hold 1 second. Let me grab a page here. Okay, give me your website again.
Well, my website is Irene, Irene, Weinberg, WEINBERG.com.
Okay, I'm bringing it up here and then I'll share it on the screen. So I'm waiting for it. Yeah, I got it here. Hold on. Oh my goodness, what's happening here?
Technology.
Yeah, right?
Technology. It's sort of like you can't live with it and you can't live without it.
Right. So that's you here. It's kind of moving a bit slow. Yes. So you have a free gift that you're giving persons. My free gift to you, unlock your 10-day healing journey. So persons can sign up for that. Are you seeing
Here I am.
Right.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. Right. So they can sign up for that here. Where can they get your podcast is here.
Yes.
Yeah, the internet is moving a little bit slow with me today.
And the podcast is called Grief and Rebirth. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, griefandrebirth.com.
Right.
And here you go. I have a co-host, and here we have all these wonderful episodes. And I'd love everybody to do this. Please get on and sign up for to receive the podcast. And you will, they're half an hour episodes, and you can choose who you want to learn. See, here you have Mary Lisa Beal, radio host, author, and an intuitive. She helps people with their careers.
Nice. And people go through grief. Grief is not only about death of a human being. It could be of an animal. It could be It could be loss of probably a part of your body. I had somebody on my show the other day who lost an eye, you know, and that is, you know, a body part. Something is,
Oh
it's
my
a
God,
great
that's so
thing to have.
traumatic.
Yeah, that's a loss. And so you have major issues, challenges
Right. We
dealing
don't just talk about grief from death. We talk about grief from all kinds of things. If you scroll down a little bit, we literally even, this Nikki Bodine channels people's pets.
Yes.
I mean, that, you know, Peggy DeLong is a psychologist, and she helps children who have problems, and she herself went through, you know, something in her life. So we talk to all these very, very interesting people to give
Yeah.
you insights and to enlighten you, and so that you don't have to have your own trauma. You can
Yeah.
learn from other people's
Yeah, and trauma from relationships.
and how they rehealed it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just the idea of rejection, feeling rejected.
Mm-hmm. That
Just
also
even
brings about grief and abandonment. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and even having the issues, because these things take you back to unhealed wounds from a child, and you really have to go deep within to figure out what are those issues, you know, what are those things that's causing you to keep attracting these type of persons into your life.
And
Yeah.
there are all kinds of healers, Corinne. So, like, maybe hypnotherapy is good for one person.
Yeah.
We also interviewed someone who helps people heal through working with horses. I mean, so there are different, you know, all different kinds of roads to healing.
Yeah. I'm trying. The internet is deciding to do its own thing here. I don't know what's going on.
What else is new?
Yeah. Right? We're just, you know, it's just deciding. My mouse is doing its own thing. You know, it's just crazy. I guess the spirits are with us today, and it decides, I don't want to be doing this. I want to take you here. I want to show you here. So I'm going to just surrender and let it go.
Let it go. But they're seeing Grief and Rebirth on the screen. If they get on griefandrebirth.com, they can sign up to receive the newsletters and the podcast. And I promise they won't be bored. In fact, our first 20 episodes, 3,500 people listen to it.
Oh, nice.
So it's really helping a lot of people. And this is what my husband died next to me for, that I would take this further and do this to help people.
And it's so good to hear the strength in your voice after having such a loss. I guess because you knew your purpose was larger or is larger than his death.
Absolutely. And I worked with people also, Corinne, so it helped me to process and move through the horrible thing that happened.
Yes.
And then it's so empowering for me now that I've taken it. What do they say? You make lemonade out of lemons?
Yes.
And this is my lemonade.
Yeah, this is your lemonade, and it's all in yellow too. So clearly it's lemonade. Oh my God, this is awesome. Where can they get a copy of your book? Tell me.
Right from Amazon, easily through Amazon.
Okay, so they can what's the title?
Just go right on Amazon, and it's called They Serve Bagels in Heaven. And you can go right to page 8 for that whole thing about bagels in heaven. But you can go onto Amazon, and there are about 70 positive reviews on it. And I've had also 5-star reviews from professional review sources, which amazed me because I never set out to write a book. But They Serve Bagels in Heaven, it'll come right up.
I tell you, my mouse is doing its own thing. You see the mouse moving. It's just,
I see what you're doing. If you go down to that all.
Yeah, it's just doing its own thing. So I am just going to let it go. Right. I can't even type in
it sounds like you type.
It's not letting me type.
Okay. Okay, well, anyone can get right on to Amazon like they saw and put in either Irene Weinberg, I think it'll come up, or you can't forget the name, They Serve Bagels in Heaven. In fact, people ask me all the time, and does that come with coffee and cream cheese? And I say, yes, if you like. You'll read all about it.
I'm so sorry I couldn't get to go on Amazon, but yeah, you know, they serve bagels in heaven. You can't forget the name of that book.
No, and you can also get the book through my website, ireneweinberg.com.
Very good. Irene, oh my God, this has been a wonderful conversation. I had fun talking with you off air and on air. And I mean, I can learn so much from you. Definitely, I need to be on your show. I can't wait to talk to you you know, and
will you send me an email, Corinne?
I will.
All your information, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, not a problem at all. Thank you so much. And I mean, it's great having you on Between the Lines. I know there's so much more that I can learn from you, and I thank you really for sharing.
You know, they say there are no accidents. It's a divine synchronicity that you had that problem, and who knew that I was going to be the person that you would be interviewing?
Exactly what I'm saying, you know, and I thank you for sharing your wisdom and for giving me confirmation. You know, when things happen to you, you wonder, you see one confirmation, and then you're like, and somebody else comes along and tells you that exact thing, and you're like, yes, that's the message. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Right, there you are.
Yes, I thank you. I'm on the right path. I'm on the right journey, and like I said at the beginning of my show, I am so thankful for being here. And no matter what the situation is in your life, there is a bigger purpose. You just have to be willing to listen and act on when the time comes for that bigger purpose for you. Thank you so much, Irene.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.